Hello everyone and happy nearly Halloween. I hope you're already in the spooky mood because today I have something fun, adorable, and most definitely Halloween to share with you. Today we will color this adorable kitten together and we'll do it in a slightly different than a traditional manner. We will keep our kitten white instead of black. So we will practice white fur effects, blue shadows. I will show you how to turn the inside of his hat into a galaxy. We'll do a little bit of moonlight. Let's get right to it. We are starting with white charcoal on blue paper. The most obvious thing that jumps out in this coloring is, of course, the fact that we're working on darker than usual paper. It's quite common for me to color on toned paper, but I tend to go for pale lilac, very pale gray, earthy beige, never this intense blue. This is a mid-toned blue, quite out of my comfort zone. But as you can see, the results are astounding. And picking paper that's already toned is going to save you a lot of time as well as establish those undertones. But before we get carried away, where can you even get this page? This page is a free gift for everyone on my Patreon. So make sure to swing by and download it and print it on something fun. Again, I highly recommend that you go for blue, any shade of blue or purple, but I think blue will be better. You can get colorful paper at any craft store or on Amazon. I myself use Recollections Artstock paper. And white charcoal is my main tool for this white fur. If you don't own white charcoal, first of all, you should. I highly recommend this tool. It's super easy to obtain. It's super easy to use. It's very affordable. Get it on Amazon. I'll drop a link below. Give it a shot. It's amazing. It's particularly amazing because we can use a Q-tip with it. But if you are dead set against it, a white pencil will work just as well. Just make sure to follow the direction of the fur for your brush strokes. And that's all we're going to do for the fur for now. Remember, it's going to turn into something very glamorous and realistic, but this is our start. Our shadows are already here, established with the color of the paper itself. The next thing that I'm going to do is work on the inside of his hat, working with my deep dark purple, creating a smooth gradient transition from the inside of the hat out to the brim. If you want to know more about shading techniques and specifically how to master smooth transitions, gradient transitions, and how to match your colors, if you haven't already taken my course, How to Use Colored Pencils Like a Pro over at the Academy, I highly recommend taking it. It is a life-changing course. Just read the testimonials from real-life students. Hundreds of people have already graduated that course, and for all of them, it has been a complete game changer. My next color on this hat is Copenhagen Blue. I am, of course, working with my favorite brand, Prismacolor, but you can achieve these results with any brand. If you know my channel, if you know my school at all, then you know I am not big on brands. In fact, in How to Use Colored Pencils Like a Pro, I teach you how to calibrate your pencils so that you know what you have, what needs adjustments, which colors need to be created from scratch, and which already exist in your pencil box. So any brand at all. There are a few that I recommend all the time, including Black Widow pencils, Castle Art, Derwent, Faber-Castell, and a few others. And another thing that you'll hear me talk a lot about in all of my coloring tutorials is layering. Notice that every single new layer of color that I'm adding here is smoother than the previous layer. I don't apply a lot of pressure when I'm shading. I am layering gently but generously. That is the trick to smooth gradient transitions. Don't ever mush the surface of the page, no matter what those other YouTube channels tell you. It is simply bad artistic manners. Professional artists, we don't mush the texture of the page. We layer and blend. The more colors, the better. If you layer gently, your paper can handle dozens upon dozens of layers of color. If you're interested in seeing the full recording of this took nearly 3 hours to complete. If you want to get access to the full recording that has every single pencil color called out as soon as I touch it to the page, that is available for all of my Palette Pro patrons over on Patreon. If you want a monthly full uninterrupted recording of my latest project, join Patreon, join that tier, and actually as you join, you will get access to all of the previous recordings as well. So just by entering that tier, you will unlock hours upon hours of video footage that is priceless. So do consider joining Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, it's one of the locations where you can get my latest published book, well, a mini book, but still a coloring book, Ink to Color. Do consider it. It's up on Patreon. You can also get it on Etsy or directly at the Academy. If you haven't seen the video flip through of it, I'm going to link it at the end of this segment, so make sure to stay until the very end. Now that my hat is done, notice that I'm coming in with a blue that's very similar to my paper color to add the shadows on the cat's fur. This pencil is barely darker than my paper, and it's making such a huge difference on the cat. These shadows are looking realistic already. And just a touch of Copenhagen blue to really bring in the 3D texture. This isn't even a grayscale coloring page. This is just a regular line work coloring page, but because we're working on paper that is toned, it's very easy to create 3D effects. So if you haven't yet ever tried coloring on toned paper, I hope this Halloween season you will give it a shot. For my leaves, I am doing something different. For all the foliage and the pumpkins themselves, I'm going to be using more pale peach tones, which I will later blend with lilacs and teal. If you would like to see a more classical approach to orange leaves, I have a video on that as well, and I will link that in the description and in the pinned comment. Notice that for the leaves and the pumpkins, I didn't prime the areas with white charcoal as I do normally. I just went straight into my light colors, and that works just as well. At least with Prismacolors it does. Prismacolors are very high-end wax pencils, and I trust them implicitly. I work with nothing but Prismacolor pencils these days, and I know every single one of them and how it behaves. You may know your brand better, so know its strength and know its weaknesses. Not every brand is going to layer so beautifully on toned paper. The light peach, the white, and Prismacolor just layer so naturally over this blue, and the colors are barely distorted, just with a slight bluish undertone, which is exactly what I'm going for. Like, think of this as dusk or dawn. We can still see the moon, we can already see the moon, but it's still very dark out. I want that dusky twilight undertone in my coloring, and that is why I picked this color paper. If you're working with a brand that does not layer nicely with light colors on toned paper, prime the area that needs to be lighter than the background with white charcoal or a white pencil first. There's a catch-22 here, right? Does your white pencil even layer? Well, if yours doesn't, a Prismacolor white will. The good news is Prismacolor white and every other Prismacolor pencil is available as an individual purchase on Amazon. So you can just get a bouquet of white Prismacolor pencils or just a single one and keep it in the studio. It's a great investment. Aside from my classical colors on the pumpkins and the leaves, I am adding a lot of blues and turquoise. Look at that bold and brave transition from bright orange to cool aquamarine. That is not something you see every day in coloring. I dare you to take chances, my friends. I dare you to play with colors that make you happy. I dare you to play with colors that are just fun and change them around on every single leaf to your heart's content. Remember when we were kids and we used to doodle with our crayons? We were coloring something, an elephant, and every once in a while we'll just reach over to the box and go, ooh, I know, I'm gonna add purple now. Be that child again. Experiment, have fun, throw every single color in the rainbow at this drawing and see what happens. This is a PDF download. You have nothing to lose. You can print so many copies of this and try different effects. I'm using my very dark blue, Copenhagen blue here, to really bring out the high contrast. Normally, I would go for black for this effect, but in this case, in this fantasy style Halloween drawing, I'm actually going to stick to just blues and purples for my deepest, darkest tones. And you can see that I do get a nearly black effect here and there where I'm adding the Copenhagen blue over the bright pumpkin orange. And those are some tricks of the trade that you will pick up. For instance, in oil painting, I never actually use black paint. I always create black effects by mixing other colors. That is very similar to what I'm achieving here on these pumpkins. Now for the starry hat effect. As long as you primed the inside of the hat nicely and smoothly with your colored pencils, now come on in with a white gel pen. There are a ton of them on the market. They're super affordable. You can get a whole pack of them either on Amazon or in a craft store. I am using this Mr. Pen brand these days, but I also really like Posca pens. And with a white gel pen, the trick is to add the stars as dots of various sizes and as randomly as possible. I know randomness is difficult. Our minds seek out patterns. It's very easy to add a polka dot effect. That's not what we're after. Try to go for clusters. If you know any constellations, you can add them there too. Constellations will really sell the effect of a night sky. You can even look up images of the night sky and try to copy the exact positions of the stars as much as possible to really get the randomness across. The trick here is in the variation of the size of the dots and the spread. No actual star shapes, no sparkles, no glitter, no glimmer, just dots. And ta-da! It looks like the night sky. And for my moon, I am simply going to fill in the entire circle behind the cat in pure white with my white charcoal. No moon glow is necessary, just a simple white circle on our blue background sells the illusion perfectly. Remember that video I mentioned earlier? That should be popping up on the screen right about now. Make sure to check it out next. Our kitten is now done. I hope you enjoyed this little short and sweet tutorial. Remember that the full recording with every single color called out is up on Patreon. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to this channel. I'm Lisa Mitrokhin, and I'll see you in the next video.